Hello and welcome back. In today's video, we will talk three more principles of Fayol's managerial principles. The first one is unity of command. This principle talks about subordinates should receive order from only one superior, which means if I am a manager, I can have many subordinates to me, I can have many assistants to me. But if I am one of the subordinates, I should have only one manager to me. A boss can have multiple employees, but an employee cannot have multiple bosses. This will create confusion and this will create chaos. Ask me how. In your school, you must be having at least 4 or 5 teachers, one teacher per subject. Let's say your maths teacher gives you a homework, gives you an assignment, and your accounts teacher also gives you a homework or an assignment. And both of them gave you very short time period to complete. Let's say they just informed you about the task today and they are asking you to submit it by tomorrow. And both of them have given huge sizable task. Now which one will you prioritize? If you prioritize math and if you go with accounts homework incomplete, your accounts teacher is going to be angry. And at the same time, if you prioritize accounts, your maths teacher is going to be angry. And let's say if maths teacher and your accounts teacher don't get along well, and if you complete accounts, if you prioritize accounts and the rest of the year your maths teacher is going to see you like an enemy, the trajectory of the story I guess you can predict. This is what will happen exactly if a single subordinate is receiving commands from multiple center. Let's say you work in a company and you have 3 bosses sitting above you giving orders. Now, which one will you prioritize at first? Isn't it? So the conflict will be never ending. Very rarely, all the 3 bosses will be in perfect understanding and they will forgive and be generous towards each other. So the best way to prevent this confusion is to make sure that every employee has only one superior to them. Now this is exactly opposite to what Taylor has proposed. If you recall, Taylor has come up with this concept called functional foremanship, isn't it? So he says that every factory should have 8 supervisors and that 8 supervisors should manage each and every employee. That means if you are an employee, if you are a worker inside a factory, and if that factory follows Taylor's scientific principles, you will be having 8 people ordering you every time. We saw many people, right? Instruction card clerk, route clerk, gang boss, speed boss. We saw so many people. Imagine all of them having their own command and having their own agenda and been pushing you, pressurizing you each and every hour. Imagine answering to 8 people at the same time. Confusion, isn't it? So Fayol says that let there be division of work, but let there also be unity of command. So that's the first principle of today's video. Let's go to the next principle, which is unity of direction. This is also pretty much similar to the previous principle. In unity of direction, we need to understand that a business will have multiple functions. Functions like purchase department, marketing department, sales department, and human resource department, production department, planning department. It goes on and on. Each and every department is a function and each and every function will have its own goal. For example, for production department, maximizing the output and reducing cost per unit is the total objective. So that's the direction that the factory will be traveling towards or the production department will be moving towards. For purchase department, they will get rewarded more when they end up purchasing a lot of raw material at the cheapest price. So what the natural tendency of purchase department will be? The natural tendency of purchase department will be to maximize the purchase, place the biggest volume of order all the time so that they get the materials at a cheaper price. Let's say if the factory makes milkshake and the purchase department's main raw material is to buy sugar. Now let's say a gunny bag of sugar costs you say 1,000 rupees. And if you buy 20 gunny bags, the per unit rate will be 1,000 per gunny bag. But let's say instead of buying 20, if they buy 200, they might get the gunny bag for 850 to 900 rupees. So that means they are saving 100 rupees per bag. So that will be overall cost reduction. But instead of buying 20 bags, they will end up buying 200 bags. That means over purchase. Let's say the factory does not even need 200 gunny bags of sugar. So now where will they store it? Again, let's say if the factory is little moist or if there is some pest issues, all the raw material will go bad in quality. So all those problems, subsequent problems will be there. So all the departments should work together, come together, and they should work in unison. They should understand, okay, my function's goal is this direction, but the organization's overall goal is in the other direction. So I have to compromise my goal and then let me go towards the organization's goal. The organization's goal is to be, let's say, give the maximum value to shareholder. So how can you give maximum value to shareholder? If you make more profit, you will give maximum value to shareholder. How can you make more profit? If you don't make unnecessary losses. So if the production department thinks that for me, I have to keep producing. If the purchase department keeps thinking that for me, I have to make the most amount of purchases so that my cost will be down. I don't care about what happens with sales department, what happens with the costing department, or what happens with the finance department. I really don't care. For me, I have to achieve my goal. If each and every department acts in their own goals and if they go in their same direction, then it will ultimately affect the company's overall profitability and the company will fail in its ultimate objective, which is to provide maximum value to shareholders. So that leads us to the next principle, subordination of individual interest to general interest. This is largely similar to the previous point only, which means you should stop being selfish and start looking at the larger interest, at a team's perspective, at a company level's perspective. We can see this example many times in football and cricket, isn't it? In cricket, let's say a batsman wants to improve their batting average, so they will naturally tend to play defensive game, or they will focus on just being not out instead of scoring runs. Let's say if the team is chasing and you need, say, 9 runs per over, one batsman will think that if I play risky shot, I will get out. That will reduce my batting average. So let me just play singles and doubles and not go for risky shot. But then the required run rate will keep on climbing and eventually the team will lose. The batsman might stay not out at the end. His batting average will only increase based on him being not out. But what happened with the team? The team ultimately failed, isn't it? You lost the game. So that is exactly what should not happen at the organization level. Sometimes individual employees, they tend to think from their perspective only. They will become so selfish. Either they will become too aggressive and end up doing something irrational, which will ultimately cost the company. If you remember in the previous class, I talked about authority versus responsibility. I gave you an example. There was a salesman in the company that I worked who wanted to do good for himself, who wanted to come up in the ranks of the organization, did some lucky draw competition on his own without consulting the seniors. He might have got a good name among his customers, his distributors, but ultimately it will put the company in trouble. So nobody should have ego and think like they are the star of the team, or without them the team is gone. So the moment you think like you are a star, then you will start to put your interest first and you will forget about the team's interest. And most likely in such type of situations, you are putting the team in trouble, the company in trouble. So at this situation, I would like to give a quote by John Wooden. John Wooden is this famous basketball coach. The team is the star, never an individual player. Never put an individual player on a pedestal. Always make sure that team is the star, not an individual player. So that's it for today's video. We will see the next round of principles in the next video. Thank you and bye-bye.